Hello everyone, this is DB Talks here, and today I'm releasing a new series for y'all called Dragon Ball Impacts. So what Dragon Ball Impacts is I'm going to be interviewing a lot of my friends and hopefully some YouTube personalities, and I'll just be asking them questions about how Dragon Balls impacted their life. And without further ado, our first guest, you've known him from the last couple of videos, give it up for Dominic, otherwise known as DomCherokee.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Going pretty good.
Yeah, so my voice is a little hoarse today. We just went to a hockey game last night, and I kind of shot it out yelling at the other team, so you'll have to forgive me for that.
Who won, though?
Not our team.
Oh, how sad.
Yeah, that was a bummer, but it was a good game, and it was my brother's first time being at a hockey game, so it was actually...
Oh, it was your brother? Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Well, I guess let me start with this. So, obviously the big question is, how has Dragon Ball impacted your life? But let's start early. So, how did Dragon Ball impact your life as a child growing up?
Well, the first time I ever saw a Dragon Ball video or movie or whatever was when I was maybe 9 or something. My dad had a friend who was kind of like his mentor when he was in art school. So this guy was an artsy guy, and his children were also kind of enrolled in fine arts schools. And so, I always looked up to them as very kind of sophisticated people.
Huh, okay. And
they had a video of a Japanese cartoon. And so we were over there one night, and I was they were hey, do you want to watch this movie? And I was yeah, sure. I was just a little,
yeah.
I was just a little kid, and they were trying to entertain me. And so they pulled out this movie, and it was the Dead Zone.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it was really cool. It was the Dead Zone, and it was all in Japanese.
Oh, wow.
And I had no context of Dragon Ball, so I didn't know anything about it, about the surrounding universe or the timeline before.
Yeah. Or,
whatever. So I had no idea what the backstory between Goku and Piccolo was, or, the Saiyans.
Right.
I just had no idea what it was. I thought it was just this cool Japanese movie. And it was getting pretty late, and it was 10 o'clock or something when we would leave. And I was oh man, I want to finish this movie. But, the kids that, had it, they were just oh, you can just take it with you.
Oh, nice.
And so, I took it home and I watched it. And I always would watch it again and again and again, and I loved it. I thought that the animation style and the martial arts were, amazing. It was the coolest thing ever. Especially the scene where Gohan eats the peach that makes him it's like a psychedelic mushroom or something.
Yeah.
And so that part where he was tripping, I was always just really happy watching the video. And then so I guess to answer your question, as a young kid, it kind of helped me relate to older people. Just find new friends,
Yeah.
And so, that would be my answer to that question, yeah.
As far as older people, as in how much older? We're talking a couple of years or...
Well, sometimes it would be as much older as 5 or 6.
Okay.
I remember, I was in wrestling as a kid, and I would always go to these wrestling tournaments, and one day, my club hooked up with a high school.
Okay.
And we started just kind of combining efforts, and, I was 11 or 12, and, I would talk to all the older high school kids, and the first thing we would talk about was Dragon Ball.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And it made me feel cool, being able to talk to older people and, talk to them about something without feeling like they were just, pandering to me, as a little kid. And so, that's... It really helped me connect with people.
That's awesome, because it's when you're a kid, you always it's all about the social status,
Mm-hmm.
And it's if you tell your friends, oh yeah, I'm friends with these older people, they're whoa, and it's you're so cool. And it's cool that you talked about Dragon Ball Z with like at the time the high school kids. So you that must have been like amazing.
Oh, dude, it was awesome. They were like a wrestling team, but they were like straight up nerds at heart. Like actually, like they got me into the card game.
Oh,
and
okay.
so we would actually play the card game a lot. Like, I remember like on some occasions we would have wrestling tournaments get canceled, and we would actually, instead of going to the tournament, the coach would just drop us off at a card shop.
Oh, that is awesome.
And we would just buy cards and make decks and, play, other people. And so, man, it was like at least a group of like 10 or 11 kids, man.
Wow.
From like ages 10 to like 17.
That's
And
really awesome.
yeah, dude, it was so cool. I remember the first time they like took me to go teach me how to play.
Mm.
They're like, okay, you have to get a starter deck. And when you get the starter deck, it's like you don't know which character you're going to get.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I really hope I get Vegeta. So I got the starter deck and I opened it up and I got Vegeta. And
Okay, good. I was about to say Yamcha for a second.
No, it was so awesome, dude. And then we actually played competitively. Like we played tournaments. Like, at different card shops, and I actually won I got like third place for one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was just like this kid, but I had all the support of like these older guys who just kind of like, taught me, the rules, and then just basically kind of like rudimentary social skills.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
you could say it that way. So, that was pretty awesome. Just having that kind of like close knit community that.
Yeah.
And that brought us all together.
Did you, for getting third place, get any money from that?
No, I
or
just
any kind of prize?
I think I got like booster packs and
Oh,
starter
okay.
decks
Well,
and stuff.
that's still pretty cool.
Yeah. It was fun. It was like, what was cool about that time? It was like when Dragon Ball GT was just about to be released.
Oh.
Like they also had like, if you won like a certain prize, you could get like preview packs of the Dragon Ball GT card game, which was essentially the same thing. But
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So essentially, what it comes down to is, you got in, so you're in a wrestling team, but the show, well, they all love the show, you love the show,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of, you've mentioned like, it kind of taught you like some new social type behaviors. Like you're part of a community now of wrestlers, but you also play card games, and it was just overall like the show did more than just like, hey, let's talk about the show. No, there was also some other aspects into it.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Like, just opening up a whole new world for me, and like, being able to communicate with people outside of my age demographic.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, so like even adults, I would go to the card shop with my friends, and we would play Dragon Ball Z, but also I'd like learn about other comics and games like Magic the Gathering and stuff.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But basically, it allowed me to like just breach a whole new world,
And how old were you? I guess when you won that third place in that tournament.
Maybe like 13 or 14.
Okay, so
Yeah.
and you're on
Yeah.
and you're on the wrestling team for how long?
Oh man. I think my dad started that when I was like 10, and then I quit when I was in high school, and I think I was either 15 or 16. After my freshman year of high school, I was just like, yeah, this isn't for me.
Okay.
But I guess I personally, who I am, I owe a lot to the wrestling team and just the sport. But I mean, also at the same time, like, Dragon Ball was like, something that it helped me develop within that group of kids.
Yeah, it took it to the next level.
Yeah, but it also gave me support within wrestling, which helped me build my character as well. So when you think about it, like, everything has a catalyst, and Dragon Ball was kind of like a mini catalyst in some ways to developing my personal skills and and all that.
That's awesome.
Stuff. Yeah.
Well, before we move on to the next question, so you said those kids that you went to their house, they gave you the Japanese it was VHS, right?
Yeah, it was a VHS.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, and I was just like, man, it was so cool because it's like I had no context of Dragon Ball, so it was just like its own thing, and it was just, to me, it was just like an awesome story.
And you still have the VHS somewhere, or?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It's probably, you know what? I'm pretty sad to say, but it probably got sold in like a garage sale.
Well, that person has a rare artifact.
Yeah.
I mean, how often do you find Japanese VHSs in? Well, I guess if you go to maybe an old bookstore or something, I don't know.
Probably, yeah. I don't know.
But going on to the next question. So, how did the series help you out through times of, like, I guess, I don't want to say emotional turmoil, but I mean, everyone has their ups and downs, like something in life, something will get you down. Like, has there ever been a time where you were like just, maybe not the most upset you ever been, but you were like just down, and the show, it helped bring you back up?
Well, I mean, I've never really been the type of person to like get down in a funk and stay there.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that I kind of learned that through like some like Dragon Ball. Some of the morals that are kind of like, or not morals, like all the virtues and stuff that you find in like Dragon Ball characters. I mean, they always treat adversity like as something you can overcome.
Okay.
And so, just seeing that, all the time and kind of idolizing, Goku and Vegeta and how they would treat, new obstacles as a way to get stronger.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of still do that in my daily life. Like, every time there's something difficult in my path, I always just think to myself, that it's just something that's going to make me stronger, or, something that I'm going to overcome, and I'll have a new, just tool in my toolkit, after dealing with it. And I think that, that was kind of imprinted on me through the show.
That's cool. So the show helped you to not really get in those emotional, like, I guess, just getting like really sad and just linger on the sadness, or whatever it is. It basically just taught you to, like, hey, this happened, but you know what, I'm gonna overcome it and just move on, basically, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it just taught me how to fight through difficult times.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. Okay, well, I guess next question. So let's see, early childhood. What about high school? Was there anything in high school, like any new friends you made who were fans of Dragon Ball, or any other events that took place?
No, in high school, not really. I would say that everybody like appreciated Dragon Ball in my high school, but there was no one like really taking it to the same level that I did in middle school or at the high school, or the high school kids from the wrestling team. Okay. No one was like that in my high school. Honestly, during high school I was like more focused on heavy metal and guitar and stuff like that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, definitely nothing wrong with that. But I mean, I always like considered, or I kind of just kept Dragon Ball to myself, and I would still continue to like buy the DVDs or watch the show or draw it even.
Yeah.
But I mean, it didn't really help me gain any social ground in high school. I would just say that it was just something I kept to myself.
So it's like in middle school, awesome community, able to express, your opinions about the show, as anything. And then high school, just kind of like bottled up, and you're still like a big fan of the show, but it's like no one around you to talk to it about. Essentially,
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I would just me and my brother would play the games quite a bit, and so
okay.
With him, we still geeked out about the show on a daily basis. But
that's good. At least you still kept it going.
Yeah. I didn't put it away. When I say bottle it up, I didn't put it away, and not go back to it. I mean, I just I just kept my fandom, to myself at home.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't like a community in high school that I was really attached to. So
The Dragon Ball Club.
Yeah, there's no Dragon Ball Club. Actually, a lot of kids in high school were into like Naruto and stuff like that.
Oh,
and
I
so,
see. Okay.
It was just kind of like there was, an anime kind of group of kids there who appreciated all that stuff. But I mean, I just remember really not being a fan of like, those kind of shonen animes like Naruto and One Piece. I remember getting into them, but like only for a few months. I just,
It was like a fad.
Yeah, I mean, Dragon Ball really is like the quintessential shonen anime, so it's like when you see another one, you're like, you can tell like all the tropes that they're taking from Dragon Ball. So it's just like watching the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was just really, I guess, nowhere to take it with other people in high school.
I see.
Yeah.
So we've gone through middle school, high school. So now we're getting to more like adult territory. So you finished high school, moving into college. Did you go straight into college, or did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool. So you went straight into college. Now you're essentially an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone at the college that you made friends with that you could talk to the show about? Other than me.
Yeah. Let me think. I've made lifelong friends who had the same appreciation for Dragon Ball, but not like on the same scale that you and I do. I would say. Again, I was just kind of like in college. I was focused on studying music and all that junk.
Yeah.
But I always like. I remember moving to college. I took all the DVDs with me.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, my brother was upset, but
your brother.
Yeah, but I like took all the DVDs with me just because they were a big part of my childhood, and there are certain mementos you always want to take with you just to have that like level of comfort. And I think that again, when I would feel like upset, I could go back to those and just appreciate them. In college, and they helped me during like the difficult times of college. Whether it was like having a hard class or not having any money, or any of that stuff. I would defer back to that and just kind of imagine myself as one of the characters. And I would just feel kind of like empowered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we always associate ourselves with whatever movie we're watching or whatever book we're reading, the main character, that is.
Yeah.
And so, I think Dragon Ball is great because the characters are just so, powerful. So when you feel like you are powerless, you can put yourself in their shoes and feel like, whatever challenges you're facing are, easily, defeatable, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what you were saying earlier, because I asked you earlier about like emotionally, like how did it help you with that, and you said that you didn't really have any, like whenever there was an issue, you didn't really linger on it because of the show's like philosophy, hey, get stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously when you go to college or just growing up, there's going to be a lot of issues. Like you mentioned, like grades, money.
Yeah.
But thanks to the show, you didn't let that like hold you back. You just kept going.
Yeah. I think a lot of time too, like I would, in the music school, it's really competitive a lot of times. Like even if you're not a performance major, you still want to be better than the guy sitting next to you.
Right.
And, I would always think about music school in the same terms, like as Dragon Ball. It's like, you want to keep getting better. So, you don't feel I don't know, like you're losing distance.
Yeah.
There's no, you want to feel like your power level is increasing, like
Exactly.
on a musical scale, because, I mean, when you see a really good musician, you can feel like that gap in musicianship, just like, different levels of Super Saiyan and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, I would always think of music school in those kind of terms, practicing to become more powerful musically.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever. But, I mean, when you and I met, we had a commonality in, like, our love for Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
And even some of the other guitar players, too, I think.
Yeah, I think Alan, I think he liked it, too.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't talk too much we didn't go in depth in it, but I'm pretty sure, like, he liked it, because I remember when Battle of Gods came out, I had asked him, what'd you think of it, or no, actually, you should tell the viewers the bet you had with them.
I don't remember the bet.
Okay, so the bet was, before Battle of Gods came out, our friend Alan, he said, okay, well, here's how they're going to beat Beerus. They're just going to use fusion. And then you were like, you already knew what was going to happen because you had read.
Oh, yeah, like looked it up or something like that. Yeah.
And it was like a bet, like $5. I bet you $5. And then you like sure, and you shook on it. Oh, did you shake on it? I can't remember.
I don't know. Probably. Now I do kind of remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we were talking about it, and you were like sitting there listening, and I was like, oh, yeah, I bet you $5 they won't use fusion. And then, like, we left, like, the rehearsal room, and it was just you and me, and I was like, hey, I read, like, the article
yeah, it's like, I already
for
know
the movie. I already know what's going to happen. Yeah, I do remember that now. Mm-hmm. Man, I'm a dick.
But to be fair, I don't think he took his money. That I think.
No, I didn't. I would never do something like that, but I would definitely say I would just to mess with people.
Yeah. I think this would be a good time to mention too. So, I mentioned in one of our the first video that Dominic was in, that we went to the same school. Obviously, we're talking about that now. We should mention our guitar teacher, Paul LeBlanc, and
oh yeah.
Well, how he actually, not a major role, but he was actually part of the series, or at least for an episode.
Yeah. I guess without revealing too much, at the university that we went to, we were studying classical guitar, and when you study music, you have to take different courses, music theory, ear training, and a lot of times ensemble courses. And basically what ensemble is where you're in a group with like instruments, whether it's like a clarinet quartet or a string quartet. Well, we had classical guitar, so we had like different guitar groups. And the teacher for that course was one of the like masters or PhDs there, or he was like an adjunct, whatever. But he was actually he did a voice for Dragon Ball. I think it was Yacon.
Yep, it was Yacon.
He did the voice for Yacon, and he would always just like talk about it, and he wouldn't really talk about it, but he told us about it, and he had a really, really deep voice.
Yeah, this is really deep. Like, I'm trying to think who to compare it to.
Like it was like who's Darth Vader?
I can tell you, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm bad with actors, fortunately.
Yeah, it was like Barry White deep, like
okay,
just insanely deep, and so being where we are, where I'm sure he met up with someone from Funimation, or had a mutual friend, and they just liked his voice, and so they used his voice for Yacon, and so it was kind of cool having just like another level of connection between Dragon Ball and music at school.
Were you there when he did the voice of it in class?
Well, I think I took. Well, did he do it during ensemble, or did he do it during the beginner?
It might have been
classical course.
It might have been during the beginner.
Yeah, because I'm older than you.
Yeah.
And so I was there before you, and I'd taken that course, and he told us about it, and then I remember I met you, and you told me that he told you about it in your course too. Yeah, okay.
I think I asked him to do the voice, and yeah, he did it. It was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, actually, when he told us about it, like, there were actually a lot of older guys in my course, so they had already been kind of established as guitar players, but they were learning classical guitar, and so they were like really good already.
Yeah.
And so, and they were maybe like 5 or 6 years older than me, but one guy was talking to him about it, and or when he was telling the whole class, one guy was like, "Oh, do a bunch of nerds come up to you and be like, oh, will you please sign my Dragon Ball poster, mister?" And so I like decided to not talk about it because I didn't want to seem like the nerdy kid.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But yeah, he did the voice.
That's
in our class too. Yeah.
That's cool that we had that resource available.
Yeah.
He also mentioned too that I don't know if the current librarian at the time, but he said one of the librarians did a voice too. I forgot the name though.
Really?
Supposedly, yeah, the librarian at that school also went to studio and recorded, but it was like a really small role, like maybe a background character or something.
Speaking on the voices, I didn't tell you this, but my mom.
Oh, here we go. Here it is.
The company she worked for was like in this big office building, and their mailman did the voice of Connie. At least that's what she told me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it may have been a Funimation dub or an Ocean dub or something like that. But you know, she knew that I liked Dragon Ball, and like she got talking to him, and I was like, oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Kami's like God.
Kami.
So she thought I meant like, I thought that the world of the character Kami, not, I was actually telling her, oh, in the show he's God.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh, he's gonna really appreciate that. And so she's like, she told him, she's like, oh, my son thinks you're like God, you're awesome, you know. But,
well, I bet that made his day.
I don't know. I bet so too. But there's just like another layer of Dragon Ball, and you know, growing up where I did, I won't say where we lived, but you know, the studio is very close to us.
Yes, very close. Like,
yeah, we could walk. No, not walk there.
I mean, if we wanted to, we really could, but
Yeah.
it's awesome that you know, I think they have tours available too at Funimation. I don't know if they still do them, but I went to one of them a few years ago.
Yeah.
So it's just really cool that it's all right there.
Yeah.
Which also means Kamehacon is right there too. So.
Oh yeah. I didn't get to go to the first one, but I'm excited to go to the next one. Yeah.
I think that might be all the questions I have. But anything else you wanted to share?
Well, yeah. I would say, you know, my wife is like a Chinese national citizen, and so she's from China, and you know, it's cool still having Dragon Ball in my life because it takes so much from the Chinese like folktale journey to the West.
Oh, that's right.
And you know, so I can ask her questions about Dragon Ball, and she'll, you know, tell me how it relates to Chinese mythology or culture, and so it's like I'm still learning new things every day. It's almost like a special treat because, you know, not everyone has like that insight.
Yeah.
You know, to another culture, how Dragon Ball, you know, takes from another culture, and so that and having her be able to read like the characters to me is really cool.
Oh yeah,
or,
that's right. That's
tell
right.
me like what means. You know, it's just really cool to see. You know, how grounded the show is in, you know, in Asian culture.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
So, you know, having that is just, it's almost like a treat every day.
Did she watch the entirety of Super with you, or just a few episodes?
No, she just watched a few episodes. Like she's down to watch it whenever, but, you know, it's not something she follows. But, you know, it was funny when I was over there this past year. Was was it this past year? Maybe it was the year before. I think it was it was the first year I went to China. Like everyone, it was during the Tournament of Power arc, so like when that had begun, and like so there's just like people in China just like chilling, on their phones, and they're just like scrolling through YouTube. Watching,
that's awesome.
Watching all the videos at the same time I am,
That is awesome.
And so it was really cool. I remember we were on a boat to like this island in the south of China, and they're like, in China there's people everywhere all the time. So everyone got on this big boat and we're crammed like sardines basically.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that I'm sitting next to is like, he's on his phone watching the episode where Goku fights Kale.
Oh, cool.
And like I don't really speak Chinese that well, and I can understand a bit, but the dude he was watching on his phone, and his girlfriend was right next to him, and he was explaining the history of like Brawly and Kale and Goku to his girlfriend.
Wow.
And she was, I mean, I bet it was cool because she was just like, she was not into it, but she was just like listening to him. I could tell she's just kind of like being like, yeah, okay, cool. It's just kind of like an interesting tidbit to see like how, I don't know, there are people like you and I on the other side of the world,
Yeah.
who are affected by Dragon Ball in the same way.
And just think, like, if you had never gotten into the series, you could just be sitting some random guy, and he could just be watching this show, and you could be like, okay, that's really random. This guy's nerding out to his girlfriend about some random anime. Oh, whatever, big deal.
Uh-huh.
But the fact that it was a show that, you're invested in, it's a cool moment.
Yeah, it is cool.
Because then you would have been responding in your head like the girl was, like, oh, okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'd been like, okay, yeah, this guy, show.
Yeah, but I was able to, like, be in his shoes while he was explaining it to his girlfriend. like I've been there before. So, yeah, it's, I'm really glad that Dragon Ball's been a big part of my life.
And excited for the new movie?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I am. Especially the art. That's my favorite thing about about anime is the art style.
Yeah.
And just traditional animation. I've always loved, drawing and anime and art styles, and being able to see like 2D animation in theaters at the level that they're doing it at is just going to be awesome. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I couldn't even care about the story. I'm just excited to see some awesome fight scenes.
Do you think this will be best Dragon Ball movie ever, or do you think? Well, man, I think for sure maybe best as far as animation and art. But do you think overall?
Well, I mean,
we haven't seen it yet, but
yeah, I would say it's too early to say, and it's like everyone has their own. Everyone has their own opinions about, the Dragon Ball movies, and they have their own tastes. So, I don't think that any Dragon Ball movie is ever going to compare to the Dead Zone. Like,
okay.
Because it was my first experience. It's never going to be the Dead Zone. But I bet it's going to be a close second. Like,
definitely.
This is definitely going to be one of the best Dragon Ball movies, I think, that they've made. Even though it's brawly, it's it's gonna be awesome to have like a Dragon Ball event, kind of like when you go to a concert and something awesome happens.
The crowd's gonna be like, oh.
Yeah. This is gonna be like one of those times where I can say, I went to see this movie in theaters, and it was a big part of my life, and yada yada yada.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good spot to wrap it up. That was Dominic. Let me do a quick plug. So he has a YouTube channel. I said his name earlier, DomCherokee. He has no videos yet, but I'm sure there'll be some to come, maybe?
Maybe it's just a YouTube handle. We'll see.
Yes, we will see. And for sure, he'll definitely be on this channel a lot. Anywho, I'm DB Talks, and thank y'all for watching.